Coming up on this edition of VCU InSight, the university community mourns the death of a VCU student.
The work of a VCU arts graduate hangs in the Pentagon. He joins us to talk about it.
Students protest against recent General Assembly bills.
And a new local restaurant that's creating a buzz.
All that and more when VCU InSight starts right now.
Hello and welcome to this edition of VCU InSight. I'm Saida Holmes.
And I'm Heather Riekers. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the recent loss of a VCU student. InSight reporter Amaris Lemos joins us with more details.
Friends, family, and the campus community are mourning the loss of 19-year-old Carolina Perez, a VCU sophomore who was hit and killed by another VCU student, now charged with driving under the influence. Perez was a biology major and double minor in chemistry and Catholic studies. She died on the first day of Lent, a time of prayer and sacrifice Christians observe before Easter. Church leaders and friends say she was deeply devoted to her Catholic faith, a faith they say shined through in her laughter, kindness, and love for living. Perez died in the early morning of Ash Wednesday after 23-year-old Verinder Chahal T-boned the car she was riding in at an intersection on Canal Street. Chahal is charged with felony manslaughter, driving under the influence, and refusal to submit to breath and blood tests. VCU President Michael Rao informed the university community with an email shortly after Perez's death was confirmed at MCV Hospital. Those who knew Perez, and even some who didn't, flooded her Facebook wall with personal messages expressing their sorrow in her passing and celebrating the joy they say she spread while she was alive.
I don't know, I can't describe her just because she was that great. There's so much about her, but overall she was an angel to us all.
More than 400 attended Perez's funeral in Virginia Beach, including about 40 VCU students. Perez lived on campus in Gladding Residence Center. Chahal was released on $25,000 bond.
Thank you, Amaris. A VCU arts graduate has been turning more than a few heads with his award-winning portfolio. His work is getting noticed here in Richmond and in our nation's capital. InSight's Ashley Fisher has more.
His art seems to capture the glow behind a child's eyes, or the faith within a religious portrait. At just 24, Stanley Rayfield, a 2009 VCU graduate, has accomplished what takes some artists a lifetime. Rayfield is a part of the Civilian Air Force art program. He became a member by a referral from one of his art professors who recognized his talents. It's through this program that two of his paintings hang permanently in the Pentagon. Both are oil paintings of a soldier. He, along with other artists, gets sent all over the world anytime a major disaster happens to record stories through paintings.
When Katrina happened, they had artists come out and do sketches and paintings of what they saw, and they felt like that was the best way that was a very interesting way to capture history.
His portrait, entitled Dad, beat out 3,000 other artists to win second place in the Smithsonian National Portrait Competition.
With work such as this, Rayfield has been acknowledged by the Richmond City Mayor, Dwight Jones, in the State of the City address.
During Jones's talk in late January, he said people need to remember Rayfield's name. Last year, Rayfield held his first solo art exhibit at the Glove Coastin Gallery in Richmond. He says the publicity has gained him clients that keep him busy with commissions. Stephen Evans is Rayfield's childhood friend. He attributes Rayfield's art skills to when he attended Henrico High School's Center for the Arts.
I feel like that program really helped him out and helped him advance further in his art style.
Rayfield says he hopes to one day become very successful through his art so that he can give back to his community, possibly starting a scholarship fund for young artists. Rayfield says he takes on everything one day at a time.
When I go into situations, I don't think about, man, I hope I meet the mayor someday, or I hope I'm in a museum. I just say, I just want this painting to be the best I can make it. And then it just all kind of works out, you know.
He says he plans to keep working on his art and that in the future he hopes to become a household name. For VCU InSight, I'm Ashley Fisher.
Rayfield isn't just a noted artist, but also a teacher, with stints at Henrico High and Maggie L. Walker Governor's School. InSight's Ashley Chapman is with Rayfield in our studio.
As you just heard, Stanley Rayfield is an accomplished artist and VCU graduate who's been recognized by Richmond Mayor Dwight D. Jones and who has work hanging in the Pentagon. Thanks for joining us today, Stanley.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you are a civilian that is working for the Air Force as an artist. How did that come about?
One of my teachers, Alex Bossick, they used to work at VCU. He told them about me. They said they were looking for younger guys to join the program, and I was a perfect fit for it. So I showed them my portfolio, and after that, they just made me part of the team.
And what exactly does that job entail? What does an artist for the Air Force do?
They send you all over the world. Whenever there's a major event like Hurricane Katrina, Haiti, the tsunamis, anything that's major that happens, they send artists over there to capture it with their drawings, their sketches, because they feel like photography and video, that's common, but something is really remarkable about an artist that can capture a moment in history. So that's why they do it.
Have they sent you anywhere like that yet?
No, not yet. My first mission I went on was probably 2 years ago, and I was still in school. I'm actually getting ready for my second one in a few weeks, and that's going to be in Andrews Air Force Base. So they're going to probably show us Air Force One and some of the things on that Air Force Base. So I'm excited about it.
So with the Air Force, that actually gave you the opportunity to have a couple of paintings in the Pentagon. What were those paintings about?
These paintings were related to the last mission I was on, and what they were doing was that they were training soldiers that weren't just in the Air Force but in different branches on this new Air Force technology that would make everybody safer. So what was interesting about it was that they had soldiers from all branches, even the Coast Guard, in one Air Force base doing missions together as a team. They all had on different outfits and they were doing missions. And I did paintings of just two different soldiers from different branches to represent that, coming together, that unity.
What do you really think made those paintings stand out, that they would have them hanging in the Pentagon? Was there a certain emotion you captured?
Well, I just picked images of people that as they were in the middle of their training, in the middle of, just capturing that moment. So, one guy, he just seemed like he was just very, serious and stoic. The other guy, he was just kind of like, calling the shots. So he was like the leader. So, I mean, they were really just, strong emotions that were captured in the pieces.
And you also have a couple of other paintings that have gotten some recognition. You have one that won a competition for the Smithsonian. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Yeah, that was a painting I did of my father. It won second place in the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery portrait competition. And it's close to 4,000 entries of different artists all across the nation. And I came in number 2, and it was just a real blessing. Like, I didn't expect it to go that far at all. And I mean, I just wanted to paint my dad because I wanted to do something that was close to my heart. And I felt like it just came through. People could see the honesty in the piece.
So you have a lot of emotion in that painting itself. How was it that you actually got into art? How were you inspired?
Well, I've always enjoyed it more than anything. It was just kind of like the way for me to pass the time. I used to get in trouble a lot as a kid, and art was one of the things that would, make me be quiet. I would have to just sit down and just draw in order to keep from speaking out. So that's really what started it.
We've been speaking with Richmond artist and VCU graduate Stanley Rayfield. One of his works is in the permanent collection of the U.S. Pentagon and Air Force Art Program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Calling all aspiring models, the VCU School of Fashion Design and Merchandising held their annual model call February 22nd. It's all in preparation for their spring annual juried fashion show. After signing in, organizers took measurements and headshots. Models had a chance to give their best runway walk for a panel of faculty and student judges. Show hopefuls didn't have to be VCU students to participate. Models say it's a great chance to gain practice and experience.
I've never done a runway, anything really, so it'd be really cool to do runway, and VCU is an awesome school for art especially, so it'd just be really cool.
If models make the cut, they'll attend a series of workshops in late March and early April for tips on walking and show choreography. Junior and senior VCU fashion majors will showcase their garments at the fashion show May 6th at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts.
The General Assembly has been busy at work this session. A number of the proposed bills are stirring controversy on campus, and students are speaking out. InSight's Brian Hill has our story.
A small group of VCU students gathered outside the Commons Plaza on February 14th to protest against discrimination. Organized by the Young Democrats at VCU, the Equal Rights Rally focused on proposed bills by the General Assembly. Some of the bills that have led to the protests deal with women's rights and the gay and lesbian community. Some bills have been struck down while others are still ongoing. House Bill 462 would require an ultrasound before an abortion, and House Bill 189 would allow private adoption agencies the right to deny same-sex adoptions. Rally organizer Vicki Uronian says these bills target certain groups of people.
We're seeing a lot of rights taken away from a lot of different groups of people, so we wanted to take a stand.
This is the third year of the Equal Rights Rallies. The first was in 2009 after Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli told state universities to remove sexual orientation from their discrimination policies. Rally speaker and VCU junior Amber Wright quoted anthropologist Margaret Mead during her speech on how to bring about change.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because indeed it is the only thing that ever has. And it's so true.
Even though the crowd here at the Equal Rights Rally may have been small, the message was loud and clear. With about 30 attendees, the rally focused on change and bringing awareness to students.
Our rally, the point of it was for students to come together and say enough is enough, we're not happy with the silence, and we're going to start talking about our differences, and we're going to start, valuing them.
The rally ended with a march to the state capitol, where students spoke with 5 delegates. Uronian says she hopes they made a difference and that next year's turnout will be even bigger. For VCU InSight, I'm Brian Hill.
Other organizations that took part in the rally included the NAACP, Students for Democratic Society, and the Virginia Alliance for Student Activism.
Citizens of New Orleans celebrated Mardi Gras, but the Fat Tuesday festivities didn't stop there. Locals brought Bourbon Street to Bainbridge right here in South Richmond. The celebration began at the Dogtown Dance Theater with a parade starting on Bainbridge and 15th Street. Participants dressed in lively costumes, danced to traditional folk music, and tossed beads to onlookers. After the parade, the Dogtown dancers gave performances to raise money for the theater. Organizers say they hope the event will catch on.
It was great. We had a lot of really cool costumes. We had people out on the sides of the street. It's the first parade I've ever been in where we were handing people in cars beads and things, so it's kind of like a drive-by Mardi Gras.
Morris says she has hopes to turn Richmond into the Little Easy. This year was Mardi Gras Richmond's first, but the Dogtown Dance Theater hopes to make it an annual Fat Tuesday event. VCU now has a podcasting network called Potboiler. It launched the first week of February and has 4 shows being produced, with 3 more shows in development. Students can create and manage their own content with no oversight or censorship.
If people want to come do old school like radio serial projects, they can do that here. If they just want to do a monthly interview with somebody, they can do that here. And they can do it at pretty much any time length that they want.
The network is open to anyone connected to VCU, from students to staff, as well as VCU alumni. You can subscribe to Potboiler on iTunes or go to their website, potboilervcu.com, to get involved.
New restaurants have a tough time making it, even when the economy's good. One just opened up near the VCU campus that's serving up something different, and it's not just about the food. InSight's Jaleesa House has our story.
Tucked away near VCU's Monroe Park campus is a new restaurant with computers and cuisine at the top of its menu. Sample opened its doors in early January and since then has become a daytime oasis for those diners who don't want to sign off for a bite to eat, and a bustling hotspot for nighttime browsers. Owner Adam Bell thought of this so tech-savvy diners didn't have to disconnect to enjoy a meal out.
It had become common practice for me to go into an establishment, another restaurant, and pull out a laptop. But I wanted to create an environment where we welcome that, where you doing that is just as normal as anyone else eating.
Sample not only welcomes diners to use their own computers at the restaurant, but also has 3 stations with Mac computers available for rent. And you won't see a waiter with a pen and pad here. All orders are taken on iTouches and iPads that send your order wirelessly to the kitchen. VCU Mass Communications student Alexis Rogers says mixing taste and tech is good for students and professionals alike.
It's interesting to see how students will come in here and use it, or maybe even business professionals. I know they have iPads that you can rent, so it'd be interesting to see how that either helps their business model or hurts it in the long term.
Sample's location on Morris Street has seen its share of restaurants come and go, most recently with Sprout after just 1 year in business.
Sample faces some tough competition here at its uptown location, but its owner says what it has to offer makes it one of a kind.
Bell says tech restaurants are a trend gaining popularity around the world, and he wanted to bring that trend, along with the global dishes, to Richmond.
Our menu is worldly. It is not just from one particular region. We are serving dishes that are unique to different areas of the world. You can really travel around the world via your palate here at Sample.
And while Bell admits being anxious opening a new restaurant, he's sure Sample's tech twist will keep its doors open for business. For VCU InSight, I'm Jaleesa House.
Bell says there are already plans to expand Sample's dining area with patio seating by the spring. Vegetarian and vegan food has long been a staple at VCU's Schaefer Dining Center, but starting this semester, students have a new option to meet their dietary needs. It's called halal, and it's a term for food that's okay to eat under Islamic law. And now, VCU's Market 810 cafeteria serves it at lunch and dinner daily, thanks to members of the VCU Student Government Association. In order for food to be considered halal, it may not contain pork, shellfish, alcohol, and the meat must be handled in a specific way according to the Quran. Executive Chef Asar Aryang says the halal meals his staff prepares don't just cater to the Muslim students.
I came up with ideas primarily based on popular cuisine, from a continental perspective, that global perspective, and I was able to incorporate those into the menu.
VCU Dining Services says that if students continue gravitating towards the halal meals, they'll become a permanent menu choice.
Family Lifeline hosted its 7th annual Chocoholic event in early February to help Children's Health Involving Parents, or CHIP, of Greater Richmond. They help kids by working with parents to provide various services in the hope of creating healthy, independent families. More than 500 people came out to the Virginia War Memorial for all things chocolate. Dark, milk, and white chocolate fountains, candy bars, cookies, and cakes, which is some of the sweets provided by 11 different vendors. So why chocolate if proceeds from the event go towards supporting healthy children?
I think once in a while people deserve to have some fun, and chocolate may not be the best thing, but like anything else, it's in moderation, right?
The event also featured a silent auction with items ranging from paintings to accessories. The highest bid was an Outer Banks beach vacation. It sold for $1,020. Chocoholic raised $50,000 for CHIP of Greater Richmond. They say you are what you eat. We all get to think about that through March, which is National Nutrition Month. InSight's Christine Hadid has a guest expert in the studio with tips for making healthy choices.
Today I'm chatting with registered dietitian Denise Cochran, who works at VCU's Wellness Center. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And so let's talk a little bit. It's National Nutrition Month in March. What exactly is nutrition, and is it all about diet?
Well, the theme this year is get your plate in shape. So what we're trying to do is get people to focus on the foods that they're eating. And what we think about that plate is we like to have a lot of plant foods. So we're trying to work it in sections, have 3/4 of the plate fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then 1/4 of the plate is protein. And protein can be from animal foods or plant foods. So it's looking at the plate, getting that in better shape, and that will give us better nutrients that will improve our overall health.
And talking about nutrients, in your work at the Well, do you find that there are certain nutrients that people consistently lack, that they're not getting in their diet?
Yes, it's interesting with the college students. I see a lot of diets that are low in protein, especially dairy foods.
And those dairy foods provide calcium. A lot of students lack calcium. It's sort of, I feel like they think, well, I'm done growing, so my bones are done, so I don't need calcium anymore, because that's how they think of calcium, for strong bones. But like I said, I see a lot of no milk, no yogurts, and therefore calcium is low. Vitamin D is another nutrient that's low a lot in the students' diets, and dairy product helps. Those help a lot. So,
would you say, how is the best way to get those nutrients? Is it, you said your campaign is all about the plate, but can you get everything that you need just from food, or are supplements usually essential?
Well, what I try to do is focus on foods and beverages. I mean, they can drink milk, and I tell them they can drink chocolate milk. It doesn't matter if they flavor it. You can drink milk in between meals. You can drink it with a meal. You can eat yogurt as snacks. Yogurt can be with a meal. Cheese is a good way to get in dairy products. You get protein, you get calcium, vitamin D, lots of other nutrients. So, you know, I see a lot of lacking in dairy products. I also see quite a bit of vegetarians. And then we have to be careful, vegans especially, because if they're not eating any animal foods, there are certain nutrients that they won't get. Vitamin B12 is only found in animal products. So we really try to focus on making sure that their diets are healthy and getting some nutrients.
And when it comes to nutritional needs, would you say that they're consistent throughout the year as far as what our bodies need, or do they change from season to season?
No, they don't change season to season. I mean, they're pretty consistent needs year-round. But again, what I try to emphasize is the more varied your diet, the more different colors you can get in your diet. Think about a rainbow, you know, going the whole way from yellow to purple. The more color you get, the more nutrients, the more phytochemicals that are in food, and those are also very important for the body. So when I was in school and we learned about nutrition in the 80s, it was all about nutrients. Since then, we've been introduced to phytochemicals, and like I said, those play lots of different roles in the body, so foods provide those. You can't get them packaged in a pill.
And would you say, do you have any recommendations for how often people might get blood tested to check their nutritional levels?
No, I don't really recommend, unless someone comes in and they're complaining that they're tired a lot, and I evaluate their diet, and if their diet could possibly be lacking in iron sources, which does happen with some of the college students, then I will recommend they go over to Student Health and they can get their blood done and look at their complete blood count, look at stores of iron and ferritin, and see if they might be deficient or actually iron deficient or anemic. And, you know, we've done some screening for that.
I see. Well, thank you so much. We've been speaking with Denise Cochran, a registered dietitian at VCU's Wellness Center. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Last month, VCU School of Dentistry hosted an event at the Wood Memorial Building that might make you smile. InSight's Melissa Smith has more on these dental deeds.
It seems like smiles can be contagious, especially when helping others. That's what happened on Give Kids a Smile Day at VCU in early February. The program gives children who don't have insurance the chance to see a dentist for free. Volunteers like dentist Carl Atkins saw about 80 mouths today. He's helped with this American Dental Association event since it first started here at VCU 3 years ago.
People from my office have come every year so far.
Even with all the equipment and tools, children like Isaac DeLage sat calmly as he got a full checkup. Coloring pages help take kids' minds off the dental work. So did a special guest, the Tooth Fairy, a.k.a. dental hygienist Margaret Snellings.
But when I'm not doing that, I'm talking to children about not only how to fix the problems when they have cavities, but how to prevent them.
The ADA says 7% of children under the age of 17 didn't have proper dental care in 2010. Event organizers say annual free dental events like this aim to reduce that number.
Unfortunately, during these times, people have to cut back somewhere, and dental insurance is sometimes dropped. But there are many important reasons to keep it.
Atkins says that a lack of oral health can affect one's whole body and mind.
Children who don't have good teeth don't do as well in school. They can't learn as well. They have pain, they don't sleep at night.
He says the program is very special.
When you see that smile at the end, it just really makes the whole thing worthwhile.
Looks like more than just a child got a smile. For VCU InSight, I'm Melissa Smith.
Dental experts say the best way to keep your teeth and gums healthy is to brush often, floss daily, and have a healthy diet. Finally tonight, most will remember this Valentine's Day for candy and cards.
But for one Richmond nonprofit, it's the holiday that will keep on giving. InSight's Brenda Acevedo has the story.
They're called IMPACT, inspiring and manifesting positive aspirations in children and teens, and that's what they're trying to do for VCU and the community. The group sold lovegrams, carnations, and candy to VCU students just before Valentine's Day. Lovegrams cost $1, $3, and $5 and would be delivered on the 14th.
But it was hardly about lovegrams and candy. It was to raise funds for the cheerleading uniforms of the Boys and Girls Club of Southside Metro Richmond.
IMPACT member Kenneth Stewart says their goal was celebrating Valentine's and benefiting youth through active community involvement.
Kids there are inner city youth, they're less fortunate, and they don't have the money to fund the uniforms that they want.
Ana Rauda is treasurer of IMPACT and an active volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club Southside unit. She realized cheerleaders needed their first uniforms.
We're really excited about it. You know, they tried to raise funds last year and it didn't work out, so they're trying again this year.
IMPACT was able to raise about $300 this year to benefit youth. Additionally, Rauda says fundraising encourages kids to further pursue their goals.
I want the kids to look, forward to things, to school, to extracurricular activities, and I don't want funds to be a reason why they don't do something that they really are passionate about.
VCU students sent a Valentine, but also helped out the Boys and Girls Club Southside unit to fund for their uniforms. For VCU InSight, I'm Brenda Acevedo.
Officials from the Boys and Girls Club say the cheer team is excited and grateful for all the help.
Wow, it really sounds like they're making a difference in the community.
Sounds like.
Well, that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out online at insight.vcu.edu.
Thanks for watching. I'm Saida Holmes.
And I'm Heather Riekers. We'll see you next time.